What is up, Hulgamaniacs? And thank you for tuning in to another live edition of Big Boys and Body Slams. How are we all doing this fine evening?
Well, Kyle's awake now.
Yeah, I'm barely awake. I went skating today.
Yeah, how'd that go?
Roller skating.
Roller skating, and I fell a bunch. And there's a video that we could probably post of me trying to stay up. But I'm tired. I had to drink a Bang. Sponsored to you by Bang Energy Drinks.
What is?
Our podcast.
We'll
Big Boys and Body
work
Slams.
on that pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bang.
We're gonna get some. We're still working out the kinks.
I'm making sure we're getting Luke here in the frame, everybody. Getting him in the frame as we can. And it's going to be probably a little bit laggy because we're using my phone.
Yeah.
Trying some new things to make things good for you.
Well, to make things not crash.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So who all is in the thing tonight?
We have several people watching, so thank you for joining us tonight.
Greg, what's up?
I don't have an impression tonight, so for the benefit of those with internet access, here's my 5-second pose. Has it been 5 seconds yet?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, here we go.
And again, we are Big Boys and Body Slams. My name is Zach. Over here we got Kyle.
Hello, I'm Kyle.
And over here we got Luke, who just did his beautiful 5-second pose.
Hello. Here's another one.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that.
What did we do today?
Today, we watched TLC 2018 Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. And going into it, it was a show that had a bit of hype going in. Not an astronomical amount, but it was going to be a way for WWE to kind of end the year on a high note with a good pay-per-view. In some ways, I thought they lived up, and in some ways, I certainly thought that they did not.
I feel like we say this a lot. It was a tale of two different shows.
Top heavy.
Yes,
Definitely.
It was good. It started off slow, and then it got really good.
It did. So there was a pre-show on this show, and in a rare turn of events, all three of us happened to miss the first match. Well, Kyle and I came in, and we had to go get some more gear, and we came in at the tail end of the Cruiserweight title match, so we did miss a majority of that match. What we saw was good, so we apologize. We won't be able to run through that match. And Luke...
One day we'll get our shit together.
Luke finally saw a chunk of a pre-show match, so...
Well, that's more than it has been.
Yeah.
Because there were 2 pre-show matches, because there were 12 total matches on this card. 2 of them were on the pre-show. So we get into the one that we did see right off the bat.
Yep. Let's start with the.
So this is Lashley versus Elias in a guitar on a ladder match where the prize was a guitar. So the first person to grab the guitar was going to win the match. And so we start out here. There's a leg sweep by Lashley. Lashley gets drop kicked while he's holding onto the ladder, and it kind of ricochets into his body. Elias climbs up, and then Lio Rush comes up and breaks it up, and he gets taken out. Then Elias gets whipped into the ladder, into the corner, and then the ladder falls on him, which looked pretty painful, actually. And then the ladder gets tossed on him, and then Lashley hits a quick overhead suplex onto the ladder, and then Elias powerbombs Lashley onto the ladder, and then he climbs the ladder, he fights off Lio Rush, and he ends up grabbing the ladder. It was a really short match. Didn't have a super amount of time to build, but the guitar, I'm sorry.
Yep.
He grabbed the guitar, and he won the match. And then post-match, Lio Rush and Lashley assaulted him with said... guitar and other weaponry and ladders. This was a short match. It didn't have a ton of time to build. Obviously, they had the constraints of having to actually start the show. I give it 2.5 stars. It was better than I was expecting, actually. There was a lot of ladder offense, I guess you could say.
It was a lot of big man brawling, I think, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 2.75. It was short and sweet.
Yes.
I think if it would have gone longer, it would have been bad.
And to Greg's point, it was definitely better than the Judy Bagwell on a forklift match.
Ooh.
Wait, what is better than a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match? That might be my favorite match type of all time.
Okay. What'd you guys give the match?
I think you already gave, what'd you say?
2.75.
Did you rate it, Luke? Because you only saw
I saw like half of it.
Okay.
So from what I saw, I'll give it 2.25.
Right on.
right on. You know what? I just have to bring it down a quarter because Lashley keeps slapping his ass.
Yeah, dude, he does this butt pose.
Like Rikishi.
It's getting really weird.
It's horrible. I hate it.
What's so, I don't know. That doesn't make me pop in any way.
To be honest, I don't know how I feel about Lio Rush as the manager. Like,
I don't need him in my life, you know? I don't need it.
I think he would benefit from an actual manager, not a guy that has talent that could be wrestling more.
True.
I agree. So after that, we did get into the proper show. There's a nice little video package to open. It's good as always. It focuses very heavily on the 2 women's title matches, I noticed, which is a nice kind of change of pace. But again, I mean, in a way, it's not even worth going over all of these video packages because they're all pretty good usually. And this was another one.
I just want to say 2018 has been such a year of growth for the women's wrestling, women's division.
Yeah, and
I mean, God, dude, people like,
for sure.
Main events on main events. Like this is happening at a regular on a regular basis now. Women main eventing the pay-per-views, and I love it.
Well,
Same.
I think this can go back a couple more years. That like the growth is substantially getting higher and higher for
It's
women.
exponential. Yeah.
The last couple of years, the women have really started to get a feel, or like to me, it's starting to feel like they're equal to the men.
Yeah,
When
for sure.
when you know, in the other eras of wrestling, they were more of a prop in a way, like bra and panties matches, barking like a dog, showing your tits. That's what
Mud
it was.
wrestling.
Mud wrestling.
Yes.
I think and this show in a way, I think the show was kind of like the genesis of that because I mean obviously evolution
was, but yeah.
being here and being in the advertised main event spot I think really helped. Kyle really has to say something right
Greg,
now.
no one is ever ready for me, brother.
That's right.
For the people that just listen to this, we have comments coming from the people that are actually watching, and my boy Greg said nobody's ever ready for Kyle, and he's right.
He's
Greg,
right.
Greg,
He's right.
please stop gassing Kyle up for God's sake.
He's getting a big head over here.
I am egomaniac over here.
So the show proper does start off with the finals of the Mixed Match Challenge, which is going to be Carmella and R-Truth taking on Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox. So the Mixed Match Challenge has been going on for quite a few months on Facebook Live. It's kind of taken an interesting turn because
everyone's gotten hurt.
Yeah, a lot of the competitors have gotten injured or had to withdraw for different reasons from the tournament. So this is the finals.
What's Carmella and R-Truth's team name?
I believe it's the Fabulous Truth.
It is.
Okay.
So I'm changing it. It's Car Truth.
That's a good one.
It's
Car
Car
Truth.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
So the kind of the stipulation of this match is actually pretty significant. So on the like the immediate side, the team that wins gets to pick an all-expense paid trip wherever they want, which is pretty weird. And then, but also the big one is that the winners of the match get to be the number 30 entrants in their respective Royal Rumbles, which is a pretty huge,
stakes.
a pretty big stakes. So I like that they did give it more stakes, especially since it was the kickoff match on the main card. And I have to say, in a lot of ways, and I was saying this as the show went, I thought this was one of the most well put together cards of probably the year for WWE.
On paper, yeah.
Yeah, but this match should not have opened this show.
It was poop.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible, but I think if what I would have done if I was booking the show, I would have put that on the pre-show, and I would have had the Cruiserweight title match kick off the show.
I don't know why they continue to do that. How many pay-per-views has the Cruiserweight title match or like Cruiserweight been on the main card?
Almost all of them now.
What, like been on the main card?
Oh,
Really?
I thought you meant on the kickoff. The last one I remember was in Australia, in Melbourne.
Yes.
But that was right there in front of Buddy Murphy's home crowd, and that was his big title win. So it made
Right.
sense in that instance. Not that it usually doesn't, but that was just a nitpick.
Yeah, I'm tired of them burying cruiserweights.
Yeah, me too. So we'll get into the match here. So Carmelo and R-Truth are as is the Fabulous Truth, and they're a
rapping.
lot of fun. To be fair, they come out and it's all the pomp and circumstance, and they're
What's
rapping
up?
and singing and dancing, and it's a lot of fun.
And the crowd's into him.
Yeah.
They're over like
Yep.
Rover.
So right off the bat, R-Truth hits a crossbody onto Jinder Mahal for a near fall, and then Alicia comes in. There's a double hip toss by both men to both women. Then we get a dance break, which gets broken up by the Sings, who they start doing their own little dance. And then R-Truth just dispatches both of them outside of the ring. And there's a head scissors to Alicia Fox by Carmella, and then a spin kick to Jinder. And because so kind of all four people are kind of brawling here. And then Alicia Fox comes in, and then Truth steals her hat, R-Truth, and says something. He was going to go for the Shandi thing, but then gets kicked. And then Carmella comes in and super kicks Fox while she's distracted. And then the code of silence, and Fox taps out. R-Truth and Carmella win the match, and they are the winners of the second ever Mixed Match Classic. So they will be the number 30 entrants in their Royal Rumbles. But more importantly, they get to go to a trip anywhere that they want.
This was great.
Carmella did not know that you had to pre-register for your destination. But
R-Truth
thankfully,
already booked that
R-Truth
shit.
took care of it, and he booked this match. And what you're going to get is you are going to get a trip to somewhere exotic, somewhere tropical, and somewhere that's what?
The Cultural Epic Center.
Yes, not
the
Epicenter.
No, the Cultural Epic Center.
The Cultural Epic Center, and that, of course, is the WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut.
Woo.
I thought that was so funny.
That was the highlight here.
So as long as we get awesome vignettes out of this, Because you remember when Stone Cold like was CEO for a while, way back when, and like he had all those vignettes at headquarters.
Yeah.
How awesome they were.
I hope we
get anything even close.
Same.
I think R-Truth is very much needed comedy.
Yes.
And
Agreed.
I'm glad he's being used on TV because I've always thought he was an underrated talent. So I'm excited to see that.
Besides TNA, he's been underused everywhere he's went.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, except for that brief main event push he had in like 2009, 10, 11.
Def
somewhere
forgot
in there.
about that.
I agree.
Sorry.
Oh
We need to rate this match.
yeah, the match itself was really nothing special. I give it 2.25, and I'm probably being a little biased and factoring in some of the post match stuff, if we're being honest. But
I gave it a 1.75. I don't think it was great, but I don't think it was horrible either. It was just kind of fine.
yep, and the Awesome Truth win. Anybody
Okay,
watching?
yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, Luke, what do you think? I'm sorry.
I'm quitting.
I just thought this was a pre-show match, and I'm so used to you not being there for that. That you
yeah,
know.
thanks. No, I actually I melted this pretty hard. I gave it a 1. I was not invested.
Wow.
I was not invested whatsoever.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
It was kind of like, I mean, basically you start the match and it's like, oh, okay, well, 2 of these people are going to be the number 30 entrants in the Royal Rumble, which is a prestigious spot, if I don't mind saying.
Yes.
And so, a lot of times it's a surprise person. A lot of times it's this and that. So I was just disappointed knowing that one of those 4 people that I don't really care about that much are going to be in
with
it.
you. Yeah.
However, I would have rather Carmella and R-Truth won because we're probably going to get some comedy.
It'll be some fun, and if they're
On
not
both
gonna, if
ends.
the number 30 spot's not gonna win, and it's not gonna be like a big special name, I'd rather have it be a charismatic duo who can kind of do some fun stuff.
Also, the
in
Sing
30
Bros
spot.
bump like crazy, and I love it.
Also,
Yes.
I love Carmella.
Same. Before we move on, we're gonna take a quick break, sort some stuff out because it looks like our video feed is frozen. So sit tight, and we will be back in a moment. All right, and we're back. Thank you for your patience. We hope you enjoyed your break. We hope you were able to run to the restroom. Shall we move on?
There was not time to go to the restroom.
If you
Sorry.
didn't wash your hands,
We're not judging.
we're gonna figure out this live stream.
Yeah,
thing
we're doing bad
someday.
at this. This is all Zach's fault.
It really is. I'm the one running everything. It all comes back on me. Should we get up next now? We get New Day
New Day.
versus the Usos versus the Bar.
Can I say
We
something
are
before this
the
match
bird.
starts?
Yeah.
Now, I love all 3 of these teams.
Yes.
Okay. But I am so sick of seeing them wrestle each other every single week.
So
in
yeah,
every single pay-per-view.
I kind of echoed that during the show too. That these are 3 of the best tag teams on the planet, and I don't discount that. I mean, maybe in the case of the New Day and the Usos, I mean, maybe they're one of the best tag teams ever. Period. But I really am yearning for some fresh matchups in the SmackDown tag division, and so much so that I was kind of hoping for an interference or a screwy finish in this match. Like, that's how far I was willing to go to see something different and have the seeds planted for something new.
Yeah, and
Well, you guys were hoping Sanity would.
yeah,
I would have loved a Sanity interference to break things up. Personally, I mean,
I'm down for that too. I'm hoping when they mix the rosters up again, we might see maybe the Usos go to Raw, maybe see like Authors of Pain going to SmackDown.
yeah, the tag team division, just in general in the company, but specifically within of Raw and SmackDown, desperately needs shaken up because it's time for some fresh matchups. It's time for a hard reset. I think.
Yep, I agree.
Not that this wasn't a good match, which we'll get into.
I really enjoyed the match.
Anytime these teams meet up, it's going to be magic and there's going to be fireworks, and I thought this was no exception. Should we get into it? So here we go. Kofi and Sheamus start. There's a big shoulder block to Kofi, and then Kofi hits a nice drop kick, and then there's a splash elbow combo by the New Day, and then everyone brawls. Jimmy Uso tries a dive, but he eats an uppercut by Cesaro as he's going to the outside. Really well timed.
Nice counter.
Yeah, and then Xavier comes in. He gets beaten up by the bar for what feels like forever, and then Kofi hot tags. There's a series of drop kicks, three right in a row, and then there's a big boom drop to Cesaro. I think that yields a near fall, and then Jimmy Uso tags in on a Cesaro suplex, and then he gets the splash combo to Kofi, and then Cesaro is able to break up the pinfall. So Uso goes right for the pinfall, but Cesaro breaks it up before he leaves the ring. And then the Usos, there's a super kick party. Let's call it what it is. This is a super kick party. And basically they super kick every other competitor that's not an Uso at this point. And then there's a Samoan drop near fall, and then Cesaro comes in. There's a Cesaro swing forever. Really nice Cesaro swing. And then into the sharpshooter, which gets broken up with an Xavier Woods comes in to break it up, and then he hits a nice DDT, and then Kofi hits the double stomp, and then Xavier comes in, there's an elbow drop, and then a pinfall gets broken up, and then Cesaro hits a pop-up uppercut onto Kofi, and then Kofi gets up, recovers, takes everybody out, and then Sheamus hits a brogue kick to Kofi out of nowhere for the win, and they retain their titles. I hope this is the end of these three teams for the moment, feuding with each other. Although I did think this match was very solid.
Yes.
Maybe this should have opened the show. I gave it a 3.5. I really enjoyed it.
I also gave it a 3.5, and I kind of, yes, Greg, I am tired of seeing Balor versus Corbin as well. I'm kind of tired of Corbin anything, but Sanity is on the roster, and the Good Brothers are on the roster. It's time that one of these tag teams come feud with the Bar for a little bit.
I totally agree with that. I think having Sanity there and having nothing happen with them, and Gallows and Anderson haven't been seen since
Survivor Series, where they randomly were on the team.
And they haven't been on TV since. I mean, those are two very, very good tag teams.
And I think you can find something else for the Usos and the New Day to do for a little bit, especially the New Day. You could have
New Day can go anywhere.
Yeah, you could have them feuding with anyone.
I agree.
I mean, they were just hosting pay-per-views for a while. I mean, they hosted WrestleMania that one year.
Yeah, seriously. Luke, what did you think?
It's funny whenever Xavier is a participant in the New Day matches, like he's just a bumping machine. Like he just does nothing but take bump after bump after bump. Logically, I don't know why you'd ever wouldn't put Big E in the tag team match.
Oh, because he could be the cleaner, you know?
Well, yeah. So I gave it a 3.25. I really enjoyed it. I mean, these
Right
are all,
on.
like we said, all three great tag teams.
Yep.
But it just... It is getting stale. It's weird. We've talked about this before. Current WWE has a problem that it's never had before, where the roster is so saturated with unbelievable all-world talent that there's just people floating in the abyss. Which there's always been like people in purgatory. Don't get me wrong, but there's so much good talent that they just can't utilize because there's just not enough time. Even though they've made pay-per-views 4 hours and made the weekly shows 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's kind of rough, but it does need a nice injection of something new.
Well, and hopefully with Vince McMahon teasing a shakeup coming, hopefully we'll get that.
Hopefully that's an actual shakeup.
One thing I really have to say about the Bar is they have, over the last few years, became one of my favorite tag teams ever.
Oh yeah, I love the Bar.
They are so great together, and I really liked it with the Big Show involved, because I thought that they could have some 6-man tags with the New Day that would kind of freshen it up a little bit, because all three New Day guys would be in the match at the same time. Big Show would be in there creating a different dynamic. You could have used Big E.
Right, him and Big E would just go
Yes,
at it.
and Big E could lift him and slam him, which would probably piss Luke off. But
No, that makes sense. Big E is jacked. He's
and
gigantic.
Doug Furnace wasn't.
No, you're really going to compare Doug
Okay,
Furnace's
let's move on. So
I mean, we can have this conversation.
yeah, I enjoyed the match, but again, let's get a refresh of the tag division. Up next, Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin with an interesting stipulation. So if Baron Corbin wins the match, he will become the permanent GM of Raw. And if Braun Strowman wins the match, he will get a Universal title shot down the road at Royal Rumble, and Baron Corbin will be fired as the GM.
I think you meant to say Baron Corbin versus the world.
Yeah, well, we'll get there.
Okay.
So
The Bar?
it's notable that Braun Strowman is recovering from real life shoulder surgery. So the whole kind of story behind this match was that Baron Corbin was going to win by forfeit because Braun wasn't going to be there to win the match.
And who's the ref?
And the referee was, of course, Heath Slater,
The handsome Heath Slater.
who is having to kind of do the jobs for Baron so he doesn't lose his job, so he's been doing some dirty reffing the past couple weeks on Raw. It's been very good. We did kind of get the climax of it here, I think, which I could have seen it drag out a few weeks longer, but for what this turned out being, I loved this.
It was fun.
I was gonna say I really kind of wanted to see the Heath Slater thing go a little bit further. That's like one of the few things on Raw I've liked lately.
Yeah, I've been really into it, and so the whole thing. So Corbin comes out, he cuts a promo saying, "I'm going to be the new GM of Raw, and if you don't like it, well, there's nothing you can do about it." And he tells Heath to count to 10. If Braun doesn't beat the 10 count and enter the match, it's over, and he forfeits. So
we get all the way.
He starts the count. He gets to 7, and then Braun, and then here comes thanks, and then here comes Braun Strowman in a sling. He comes out to the ring, and he cuts a promo, and he says, "This is a TLC match." Which it kind of wasn't, but technically, I guess. He said, that means there's no disqualification. That means if there's some friends backstage who don't like the way that you've been treating them, they can get involved, and they can maybe sway the outcome of this match. So the camera cuts. We first see Apollo Crews, and he has a chair.
Question.
Out at ringside, yeah.
Since it's changed like 5 times in the past year, is his name Apollo, or is it Apollo Crews?
I believe it's just Apollo. Did the
stream just crash again?
Are we down, guys, on the video? We are. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Do.
And thank you for
the third time's a charm.
Third try is the charm.
Sorry about that again, Greg, and others listening.
Yes. So back to
whoever else is listening.
Drop
post
a comment in the chat.
Say what's up so we can give you a shout out.
We'd love to hear from you guys. So back into things. We were talking about Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin and how
we got to Apollo Crews.
Yeah. So Apollo comes out with a chair. Then at ringside. At first, the three of us were like, "Oh, is this who it's gonna be?"
Yeah, it's just one person.
We thought that was going to be it, right? That was going to be the only person. And so then the camera pans over to the other side of the ringside, like where the announce tables are, and there's Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. Then it tilts a little more. There's Finn Balor. And then it tilts. Is that it? Or did it tilt a little more? I think that was it.
There's more, isn't there?
Yeah. Wait. Did you guys say Finn Balor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
So then they all get in the ring with their chairs, and they're all going to beat up Corbin. So they all start hitting Corbin with the chairs, and then Heath Slater takes off his ref shirt, and everybody just starts dogpiling on Corbin. Well, hitting him with chairs.
He took the ref shirt and threw it at Corbin.
Yeah, he threw it at Corbin.
In his face.
Yeah, and so they all start brawling, and then Corbin escapes. He's leaving the ring. He said he's not going to go through with it, and then whose music hits? Kurt Angle, and he comes out. He has a chair of his own. He ushers Baron back into the ring, and then essentially everybody hits their finishing move. So there's the neckbreaker splash combo from Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. There's a coup de grace in there. There's an angle slam in there.
Then Heath Slater puts on the ref shirt, and
Braun pens him with 1 foot, counts the 3, and Braun Strowman wins the match. I was worried about this match going in. I knew Braun Strowman wasn't going to be healthy. This was perfect. I loved the way this was presented.
It was fun.
I loved the way it was booked. It was super fun. The crowd was into it. When Kurt's music hit, probably the biggest pop of the night, maybe. This was super fun. So as far as rating it goes, it was a match. There was a bell and a bell. So this, we have to rate it. I give it a 2.5 because it was not a match, but I had to give it something because it was. I recommend it. It was so much fun. Maybe I'll give it a 3. I'm going to bump it up to a 3.
Okay, so I didn't really rate it. I gave it a satisfactory type grade because it was so much fun. But I guess if I had to give it a number, I'd give it probably a 3. It was super fun to watch. It was definitely worth it. I think there's going to be a big change tomorrow for the GM, and I don't think it's going to be Kurt Angle. I think Kurt's going to be put on the active roster for the next few months to kind of feud with Corbin and Drew McIntyre.
Hot take.
We'll see who it's going to be, brother.
3 stars.
Good call.
Just for pleasure, man.
Yeah.
I honestly, we were talking, and I was like, oh, is this going to be Nicholas? Is he going to get help from Nicholas from WrestleMania?
See, we all said that as a joke, but then we all kind of thought it's going to be Angle. It's going to be Angle.
Right.
Or Bray Wyatt was kicked around there as a name.
Honestly, I would not have been surprised to see Braun just like grab a kendo stick or something and just one-handed just start beating the piss out of
See, I
Baron
thought it was
Corbin.
going to be. That's what I thought it was going to be, and
like he was just going to basically fight with one arm.
Squash him with one arm. I'm glad it was this because this was just fun. It was a good way to get some faces on the roster who maybe weren't going to be on it, or on the show who weren't going to be on it.
Yeah, it was really well booked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we get Ruby Riott. We get a short video package first, hyping up the Riott versus Natalya match, and then we get Ruby Riott versus Natalya in a ladder match. Or not a ladder match.
Oh, by the way,
a tables match.
By the way,
yeah,
with Ruby Riott, my girl Liv Morgan.
Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, of course, accompany.
Well, Liv Morgan.
Okay.
Hey, Sarah deserves love too, man.
I do like Sarah, but I love Liv.
All right.
Okay.
You only live once, you know.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a tables match, and so here comes Ruby Riott with the Riott Squad, and of course she has the table, and of course I'm talking about the table with the Anvil, Jim the Anvil Neidhart fat head on it.
This is awful.
She comes out with this table, and so we kind of got into it. We were talking about it during the show, but there are some people who think that crossed the line, like the imaginary line that you can't cross in wrestling. I don't think that. I just think it was stupid.
There's not There's not an imaginary line.
Yes, there is.
No, there's not.
According to a lot of people, there is.
There is a line, and when you cross it, you're having sex with a corpse or stuff like that.
Oh no, it's fine. Hey, people are gonna freak out about this, but Big Boss Man literally showed up at Big Show. Well, not literally, but showed up at Big Show's dad's funeral and dragged the casket. And
yeah. I mean, I would agree. I don't think
Big Boss Man got hanged. By the way, are we gonna forget that? No, it's hanged.
He's hanged.
Is it?
In that specific case.
In that specific instance,
Yep.
yeah. No, so I don't think this was crossing any lines. I just thought it was stupid, and I was hoping she wouldn't bring this table to the match, but she did, and we got even more custom tables throughout this match. So let's talk about it.
This is just stupid.
I also, real quick, I do want to say, I also think they've been trying to piggyback off of the Roman heat. So, like, when Roman, obviously announced the recurrence of his leukemia, and Dean Ambrose used that to get heat, right?
Yeah.
So I think that they're trying to piggyback on that with the Anvil Neidhart thing. It's escaping me. There's another thing. With Nia Jax breaking Becky's face.
Yeah.
They're trying to, blur those lines. And this one, as it's piggybacking, just felt half-assed.
I agree.
So go ahead.
Well, I don't mind them using like the glasses thing. I didn't hate.
I didn't either. I just wish they had more build. I wish he would have been coming out with the glasses for weeks and teasing them and, going to give them back but faking it out and then eventually breaking them. I think to introduce them and break them in the same week, like you didn't have any time to become attached to the glasses themselves. But I didn't necessarily have an issue with it. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was a good way to get cheap
the
heat.
table thing is stupid.
This is dumb. I was hoping she wouldn't bring it out, but it's worth noting. Here comes the gym table.
Let's do it.
Out. So let's get into the match here. So Ruby's head gets bounced off a table that is set up in the corner, and then Liv gets immediately sent through the table. Then Natalya, there's a German suplex by Natalya, and then Sarah Logan gets sent through another table. So both the members of the Riott Squad are out. Ruby taunts Natalya with the table on Jim's table, so it's kind of set up in the corner, and she's like kind of rubbing her on it. It's a little strange to say the least. And this is the first time we really see it get set up here. And then there's a Natalya sharpshooter, and then Ruby tips the table onto her to break out of it, the Anvil table. I'm just going to call it the Anvil table. Then Ruby eats an electric chair drop, kind of an inverted or a reverse electric chair drop, face first. Or no, back first, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And then, so Natalya gets outside of the ring. She goes to ringside, and she pulls out a table with a fat head of Ruby Riott on it.
Did you guys ever have a fat head? Just
No,
random
no,
question.
I didn't.
I
Did
I
you?
I
did.
always wanted one.
I had a Brett Favre one.
So I'm trying to think like in kayfabe non kayfabe terms. I'm trying to imagine like Ruby Riott like going to WWEshop.com and like ordering like a giant Jim the Anvil Neidhart sticker, and then Natalya having to do the same but with Ruby Riott. Like it's so stupid.
So they're
she-
basically putting money into each other's accounts
Yeah,
by buying
exactly.
stuff up there.
So she
likeness.
pulls out her Ruby Riott table, and then she puts on Jim the Anvil Neidhart's jacket, which was a good moment, admittedly.
I like that.
And then she tries putting Ruby through the Ruby table, but she gets super kicked for her trouble, and then Ruby Riott gets power bombed through the Ruby table, and Natalya wins the tables match. This was not a good match, in my opinion.
Nope.
The whole images on the table thing was dumb, and it like really didn't make sense why Ruby was on the table. Like there was no connection there. I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. What do you guys think?
I gave it 2 stars. I didn't hate it as much as you did.
We gave it the same rating.
Yeah, we gave it the same rating, but I didn't hate it. I just thought it was an average match, and that's usually when my
I thought it was
average.
slightly below average.
Definitely.
I loved the 2 Riot Squad members going through tables beforehand.
Yeah, that was fun.
And it really kind of was like the heels all getting their comeuppance here.
Yeah, that was fun.
So, and I'm glad Natalya got the win, but I think Ruby Riott really needs to get a push coming up. I think she's very talented. I think she's got a lot of years.
Yeah.
I also gave it 2 stars, but I just didn't care. Like the heat felt so forced to me. I didn't feel invested. I didn't feel the heat that they were trying to bring. I mean, they held up Anvil's table like while Ruby was beating up Natalya.
Yeah.
You know, held the table to her. He's disappointed
Yeah,
in you. Blah,
yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
On the
And
entrance ramp.
I just felt no.
It didn't get any heat.
No, man. I didn't feel invested in it at all.
It was pretty weak. Like if we're being honest.
It just felt all of it in its entirety felt half-assed to me. I will say these are the most gimmicked tables I've ever seen.
Oh, especially in this match, I noticed it big time.
I've ever seen, like split clean
Especially the
in
one
half.
that Liv got put through. It was
Yeah.
like a clean break.
Well, like she went to the floor.
Yeah.
Clean.
Yeah.
I also just want to point it out again that I really, really, really love the Riot Squad. I think they all have huge futures ahead of them.
I agree, and hopefully.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm like in love with Liv Morgan. I'm just saying that I think they are very talented women and have a bright future here.
I agree. I hope that it's on a bigger and more invested storytelling for the Riot Squad and for Natalya, because I think she can do some good things too. This just was never built very well, and this felt like the blow off to a very weak angle to me.
Weak.
Should we move on?
Yeah.
Yes,
We get a Lars
please.
Sullivan promo, and they call him one of the hottest free agents in professional wrestling history.
And again, those who are on the chat, we got 7 people watching. You know, throw in your 2 cents. Tell us what you think. Tell us if you agree with us. Tell us if you don't. Start some discussions if you want. I see Greg and Jordan Fizzback. I don't know who you are, but you're awesome.
Thanks for joining
He's
the
a
chat.
friend now, baby.
Yeah, he's a friend now, baby. You should buy a T-shirt.
We got 7 friends of the podcast watching. I want to see 7 different people commenting on that chat.
Greg going off though.
Greg's going on.
Greg, you are the man, dude.
And Jordan, you're the man too. So up next,
Yes, sir.
after the Lars Sullivan video package, we get Drew McIntyre versus Finn Balor. Worth noting, there's no stipulation to this match. This is just a normal, regular rules one-on-one match. I was looking forward to this match. I thought it was actually pretty good. We'll get into it.
I really like this match, but
So there's big chops to Finn to start. There's a basement drop kick to Drew, kind of take out the big man's legs. Big suplex and a Beal. Like it was like a German suplex into a Beal. Like it was really well done. That was to
Into a
Finn.
what?
Into a Beal, where you throw a man, you toss a guy like by his ears.
Okay.
Okay, that's what's called a Beal. I mean, that's what it's called.
I've never heard that. But okay.
Jessica Biel?
No, just Beal.
Oh, okay.
So Finn tries for a sunset flip, and then he gets thrown through. He gets a deadlift suplex after that, and then he gets thrown off the top rope, off the sunset flip for a near fall, and then the deadlift suplex for Drew. I was a little confused. Sorry. There's a double stop for Finn on the outside, and then a really nice kind of tornado-ish DDT to Drew once back in the ring. There's a top rope dive, and then a Finn sling blade, and then tilt-a-whirl backbreaker to Finn. There's a roll-up for a near fall at that point. And then Drew hits the Emerald Fusion from the top for a near fall. Thank you for telling me that was called the Emerald Fusion.
Shell shock.
The shell.
It is the Emerald Fusion.
Also known as the Shell Shock.
Finlay was
but
doing
the
it
Emerald
first.
Fusion. I like that name much better, so I'll go with that. And then Finn gets slammed on the apron after trying for a kick, and then Balor gets killed with a stiff headbutt on the outside. Good impact on that.
Ouch.
And then Dolph interferes while the ref has his back turned. He super kicks Drew, and then he grabs a chair, but Drew steals it, gets in the ring with it, and then Finn sees it, uses it to his advantage, does a dropkick into the corner, into the chair, and then coup de grace, and surprisingly, Finn Balor gets the win.
Finn win.
I enjoyed this match. I thought this was very good. I thought the interference was quick enough that it made sense, and it actually alluded to later in the show. I gave it 3 stars. It was a good little match.
Wow, I gave it 3.5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. I do have to say, I wish WWE would take a page out of the McIntyre book with Lashley, because both of these guys left the WWE at a very low point in their careers.
Yes.
And Impact actually built them up back to how they should be, and it kind of seems like they've both gone in opposite ways. McIntyre has been built back up to being really, really good, and I think they don't know what to do with Lashley, even though they have a star on their hands. They ruin him with stupid segments like that sister segment with Sami Zayn.
So I think that it's almost impossible for one angle or one segment or a series of segments to ruin a character and kind of do irreversible damage.
Yes.
I think that's very rare in wrestling. I think it's always possible to build somebody back up after even the lowest of lows. Like if you look at Sasha and Bayley, for an example, they could be inserted into the main event picture tomorrow on Raw, and it would make sense. Having said all that, I truly believe that sister angle with Zayn and Lashley killed Bobby Lashley.
I do
It
agree.
destroyed him in
From the
WWE,
get-go.
and I don't know if he'll ever fully recover from it. Just because it was like Luke said from the get-go, it was the first angle that he had back with the company, and for it to be that just dumb and that pointless, I think it really hurt, and I don't think he's crawled out of that hole yet, heel turn and all.
I think they just put a ton of effort into it, like you were saying, Kyle. Ton of effort into Drew McIntyre. They've done it right with him. It took a while for him to start getting this sort of a push. But
well, I mean, he went to NXT and won the belt, and then came up and was in the Diesel role with Ziggler. So
with
he
Ziggler.
did
Yeah,
have it.
That's fair. But yeah, no, Lashley, it's like they put so much effort into Drew, and then just haven't funneled any of that towards Lashley's way.
No, I agree.
It's so lazy.
I agree.
It's so lazy.
I definitely agree.
Because again, Lashley could be a star. He could be a Brock Lesnar type character.
Yeah, I mean, he was booked so well in Impact. He was that monster champion for so long, and he's just doing nothing right now.
It drives me crazy.
I gave
Agreed.
this match 3.5 stars.
Nice.
I think Drew and Finn have a lot of chemistry.
I
do
agree.
too.
They wrestled very well. The Dolph interference made sense. They didn't get a good camera angle of like the ref not seeing it though, so I was like,
Yeah, at first we were kind of like, is this a no DQ match or what? But on the replay, you did get to see that the ref was distracted and
yeah, I was
didn't
surprised.
see the
I was surprised
interference.
Finn won, and he actually, we kind of got in an argument over this on what this means, but I said that Finn kind of got the Brock Lesnar treatment there for a while.
Yeah, he
Because
was getting thrown around a lot in this match.
ragdoll. That over the head, belly to belly, that was clear across the ring was awesome. The headbutt was just excruciating looking.
My
And,
boy
it was a
Wyatt's
good
here.
match.
Hey Wyatt, Lashley versus Lesnar is a dream match of yours. I would like
You
to
know
see
what?
it.
I would really like to see it too.
Brother Joe also agrees with that. He said that too.
Yeah, he has. I think that would be a good match if you built it properly. It could be just a good Haas fight.
But you know what? Lashley's they've got to do like 6 months of repair work before they can do something like that.
Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
oh for sure.
They really
They've got to
do.
start it on Monday. I mean,
What-
hopefully that's the end of this, and they can do something with him now.
I know we're beating this point into the ground, right?
Mm-hmm.
But oops,
Rip.
he is so good if given the chance to be good. But they have just ruined him. This butt thing, this Leo Rush thing, which isn't even bad. It's just annoying.
Yeah. Should we move on now?
Unfortunately.
Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio, Booyaka Booyaka, in my favorite stipulation match besides tables match, a chairs match.
Who's that jumping
Um,
the sky?
God, I'm sorry.
Do it.
I am so
Oh, here it
bored
goes.
with Randy Orton. I am just so bored of him.
Ooh.
Hey, wait, I have a question,
Go
and
off.
this is just random. What happened to Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy? Wasn't that supposed to be on the show?
That should have been on the show.
That's a good feud.
Instead of this doo-doo.
I thought that was supposed to be on the show.
It should have been,
I just thought of that.
or even make that a tag team match here, because
Something.
I've seen Ray and Orton 100 times. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, so this has been a decent feud, I will say, and I have kind of like I liked the kind of beginning of Orton's heel run when he was going after Jeff Hardy, and he said he was going to basically be the Legend Killer 2.0, essentially.
The match with Jeff Hardy at Hell in a Cell was one of the best Orton matches I've seen in years.
In a long time, yes.
But we're back to that Orton that just doesn't feel invested to me.
He just doesn't care.
He's working with another older guy who he's worked with a lot, and they've had good matches in the past, but something was amiss.
This is uninspired.
Yeah,
is the word.
Yeah. So Ray gets sent outside right off the bat, and then he attacks Orton with a chair. And then my favorite spot of this whole match came a little bit later when Ray laid on a chair, kind of like slid on it and surfboarded it out of the ring, through the bottom rope, and onto Orton outside. That was a really nice spot. Probably my favorite spot of the match, actually, which, oof. And then Randy gets seated in the chair outside. Ray goes for a seated senton, but he misses and just tailbones the chair. That looked really painful outside of the ring there.
Yeah, he got jacked up for
sure.
Yeah.
And then Ray gets face planted on a chair back inside the ring, and then Orton wedges the chair in the corner. Ray sends Orton into a 619 attempt. It gets countered, and then Ray manages to hit an enziguri on the apron to Orton, and then he does hit the 619, and then Randy hangs Ray upside down and then smashes his face into a chair on the turnbuckle several times. That was a pretty interesting spot.
Yeah, like a reverse tree of woe.
Yeah, and then he kind of just smashed his face there. And then Orton sets up like several chairs, like four chairs in the ring, like normal, like you'd sit in them. And then he ends up seated in one of them. And then Rey Mysterio tries for a Hurricane Rana into a roll-up, but it was very messy.
Like off the chair.
Yeah, but it was very messy. The exchange wasn't good, but that is the spot that finishes this match. Just an interesting end to an interesting match. I give it 2 stars.
I gave it 1 3/4.
Yeah.
This was my least favorite match of the night.
I think me too, probably.
I was really bored. They have chemistry, but I think Orton is just so uninvested, and I think Ray probably should be working with newer talent.
I agree.
I think Ray should be facing the Almases and the Samoa Joes, and
he should be putting them over.
They should both be putting talent over.
Yeah.
Yes,
this match didn't need to happen.
No. You could build them up to be title contenders again.
Yeah,
but I would love to see a Rey Mysterio versus Daniel Bryan feud with Ray putting Daniel over.
Oh yeah.
I
would love actually be very fun.
Yes, and I think Ray and AJ would be fun too.
Yep.
I mean it's kind of a
smaller guys.
It's kind of a face versus face thing, but
whatever.
I'm just so
this was versus
I'm just uninterested in anything Orton does, and really since Rated RKO, I haven't been invested in Orton very much.
Yeah. So we're all in agreement. Did you give your rating? Luke?
He hasn't given his rating yet.
1 3/4. Zach, I'm sorry. I don't know how you can give this 2 stars, bro. I really don't.
No, dude, get out of our show.
So after that,
hold on.
I'm sorry, Luke. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's a tough crowd.
I know.
One, I don't know if it's cultural or what, but the mohawk on Ray's masks, like the horse looking thing.
Oh my gosh,
I'm sick of that.
I'm not a fan of the horse look for Ray.
I don't even know those 4 chairs, dude. I don't even know what Randy was he going to RKO him through them?
I don't know what his plan. I think so.
Because you only need 3 of them. He's Rey Mysterio. He's all of 5'8".
So here's another thing. Ray got several 619 teases and eventually got the 619. There was not one RKO tease.
Not one.
In this entire match.
Not one.
No vipering.
Isn't that what you were wanting, though? Like, what was that what you were wanting a couple weeks ago? Was like no more RKO?
What?
I mean, I don't want him to use it on TV, but I think in a pay-per-view you can pull it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it gets heel heat, right? But no, I just noticed that. I had not one tease of anything for Orton. This was just a nothing match. It was nothing.
This match was unnecessary, and the finish was disgusting.
Yo, Jordan Fitzback, you're right. It was boring.
Yes. So backstage, something that wasn't boring and that could be interesting was Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler had a confrontation. They're arguing over the interference. Finn said he didn't need his help.
I don't need your help, despite the fact I was getting my ass handed to
Dolph
me.
said clearly you kind of do, and said it had nothing to do with you. And then
they're
Ziggler,
wrestling tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw.
Is that really happening?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that.
When did that happen?
I don't know. They showed a graphic for it on the show.
They did?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I missed it. So maybe that's that. Hopefully it goes up. I think that could be an interesting
I
angle.
did totally miss this whole thing because I was using the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you didn't stop it for me, but that's all right.
I mean, he just got thrown into an equipment box and called it good.
Yeah, and that was that. And then we go on to our next match, which is Ronda Rousey, the current Raw Women's Champion, against Nia Jax, and this is the Raw Women's title match. This match, I can say right off the bat, before we get into it, I was probably looking forward to maybe the least, probably less than even Ray.
I think we talked about
Randy.
it. I think we talked about this on the pre-show, and Ray and Randy and this match were the two that we both were like,
But I will say, this Ronda Rousey carried this match, and she did a fantastic job.
God, dude.
This
is Kurt Angle level proportions.
This
of growth.
is the growth that she's had. She hasn't even been wrestling in this company for a year. I mean, she's been training longer than that. But actually, her first wrestling match ever
was the Rumbless.
Was in April.
Oh, no. It was
in April at WrestleMania.
Yeah. She showed up.
You know
she
what?
has come so far in such a short amount of time.
I remember talking about Ronda Rousey, and I really thought she was going to catch on fast, right? And people were like, no, I don't think she will, or meh.
You called that one.
No, I'm not even going to give myself credit for this because I didn't think she'd catch on this fast.
She has been amazing.
She, like Luke, I think just said, it was like a Kurt Angle type scenario where she has just got it.
Yeah.
So she's turned the corner where she's turned the corner from where she needs to be, not needs to be carried, but where she can be carried through a match. She has become the person who can carry a match.
So crazy, man.
In a few short months,
It's
since she's had the title, she can now carry a match. She carried this match. Let's get into it because I was blown away by this match.
I
guys.
was too. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I was completely, and I'm not afraid to admit when I was wrong. I was wrong about this match.
I was too, yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure Nia deserves credit too. She was in this match too. But
Yes.
Ronda's the person that stood out to me, and we'll get into why here.
Do it.
Yes. So right off the bat, Ronda tries for an armbar right off the bat. She eats a deadlift powerbomb, and there's a corner splash, and then a Beal by Nia, and then stop.
I've literally never heard you say
Michael
Beal
Cole
until
said it. Well, we got a lot of Beals going on. So then there's Nia gets thrown into the post here, and then she gets Ronda just runs right into her arm in the post, and then Ronda sneaks in a sleeper back in the ring after a few other maneuvers. She was getting into these submissions. She was transitioning from submission to submission like so smooth, so seamless. It really was. And then she has a sleeper on her for a little while here. And then Jax gets sent outside, and then Ronda climbs up to the top, and she hits a crossbody to Nia. A really nice crossbody, nice rotation, really good form, which knocks Nia down. And then there's a Samoan drop for a near fall back in the ring. And then she tries for a second rope Samoan drop. It gets countered into a sunset flip powerbomb for a near fall. And then Ronda climbs the lady to kick her, and then climbs her again to punch her. She was parkouring on Nia Jax.
No, dude, she was hardcore parkour.
It was amazing. She climbs up her and does that right twice in a row, and then she tries to sink in another submission, rolls into the armbar instantaneously.
And kisses her fist.
Yes, and then points at Tamina, because Tamina got involved slightly, and then puts the armbar in. Instantaneous tapping. Ronda Rousey retains the championship. Guys, I give this match 3 stars. I was blown away by this match.
I give it 3.25 stars because I love Ronda Rousey's offense. Nia did great. It was really good, like chopping down the bigger person.
Of course.
And right now I know we've said this a few times tonight, and we're probably going to say it more. We are at the apex of women's wrestling.
I know.
And not just in WWE. Like, you know, you're seeing outside WWE, you're seeing like the Tessa Blanchards and the Jordan Graces and the Taya Valkyries.
Valkyrie,
yeah, there's just so many good women wrestlers right now. And I used to get so bored with women's wrestling back in the day. And now I'm like, oh man, I might be looking forward to this more. Like we were talking about watching Impact Homecoming together and not doing a show, but actually watching it. And Tessa and Taya is one of the matches I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, and then Jordan Chelsea Green, yeah, she's great too.
Yeah.
There's so much great women's talent right now. I love it.
And Ronda Rousey is just stepping in and like she's there. She's great.
Owning it.
And how good is she gonna get? Because she's not even at her highest level yet.
Bro, it hasn't been
not
a
even
year.
close, dude.
It has not been
not
a
even
year.
close.
It's
seeing her, and I haven't been a Ronda hater or a Ronda detractor, but I have been very
skeptical.
I've been very skeptical and very vocal about it's too much too soon for Ronda.
Mm-hmm. We were all worried about that at one point.
I think she's turned a corner, and I think that
Wyatt's right. Nikki Cross is another one. But sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to point
Tyler
out.
Breeze. Thanks for that, Greg. I think that she's turned a corner, and I was totally wrong about her. She can be the face of this women's division. I can tell she's busting her butt, man, and just kudos to her.
I just want to throw this out here before Luke gets to his rating.
Okay.
Ronda might end up being one of the best of all time because
I agree.
how
Yes.
good is
I
she
agree.
now?
Yes.
If she sticks around in WWE and has a career,
She will.
She will.
I don't see
She'll
why
be
she
in the
wouldn't.
conversation. Luke,
Yep.
what'd you think of the match?
I give it 3.5. I give it the
All
highest,
right.
highest rating
All
here,
right.
man. Yeah. I
All right.
Yay,
there we go.
So no, I absolutely love this match, man.
Awesome.
I was super skeptical. Once again, there's a few wrestlers on this card that just their heat is just not where it should be. Nia Jax is one of them. They just haven't taken advantage of that Becky face breaking
I am
fight like I thought.
so disappointed in Nia Jax.
So okay, so we've got this huge ascension by Ronda, right?
Yeah.
Nia Jax is going.
She's going
to
backwards.
To me, she's going into a big down.
I
slope.
think she stopped the tailspin tonight with a good match, but it's
Did she?
I mean, I think she
So you're
probably
going to
stopped
care
it.
about Nia Jax on Monday, or on Monday.
I mean, I thought she looked great tonight. I mean,
thought she
Ronda,
looked good. I thought she looked good. She was
I want
selling
to see
really
where
well.
she goes, especially with the interaction with Becky backstage. So
I just think that she was somebody, even in NXT, that I was invested in, that I saw a future with. You know, she had the Raw Women's title for a while. When she won
Yes.
that Raw Women's title, she got a huge ovation.
Yep.
She was. The
That-
people
that
were
angle
so
was
into
good.
her,
Yeah.
and ever
The
since then she's
bullying
been
and all that.
she's been in a tailspin ever since then, and I'm really hoping.
I'm hoping this is a
see her
match to
pull
stop
out.
it.
Yeah, I hope so.
I do. I mean, just the match was so creatively laid out. It was so creatively done.
Yeah.
good job, Fit Finley.
Yes, Ronda had a textbook crossbody.
Yeah.
like we've literally
A
watched
beautiful
her. Yes,
crossbody.
we've watched her evolve in front of our very eyes.
Yeah.
Obviously the parkour, the Superman punch where she springboarded off of Nia was amazing. The weird I don't even know what you call it, but she flipped all around Nia, put that sleeper in. That was super cool.
Yep.
It's just we've watched her evolve from are you guys ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm gonna win this match.
Yeah.
Like we've watched her evolve from that to knowing how to be aggressive, and she's Ronda Rousey, man. She's the baddest woman on the planet, right? So she's a face, but at the same time has evoked that so well now.
Yeah.
And the sky's the limit, man.
I agree.
Let's move on.
Up next, backstage after a short vignette, we see Nia Jax feeling sorry for herself. She's kind of holding her arm and pouting. She tries to get an interview question and no go. She's not going to want to talk. And then she walks right into frame, and here's Becky Lynch. And Becky Lynch just lays her out with a stiff right hand, and she goes down. So a nice little bow on that incident, and I thought that was a great way to kind of close the book on that feud. The non-feud, I guess you could say.
Now let's get to something real fickle.
Yes, AJ Styles versus the new Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. Can I say
Fickle.
fickle?
Fickle.
I
Fickle.
think that there have been few people in the history of this business who can transform themselves like Daniel Bryan. A month ago, he was this baby face, eat your vitamins and say your prayers,
brother.
baby face, the underdog baby face.
That's not Daniel Bryan.
And in a matter
sorry.
of weeks, he has turned into this sadistic, evil, snobby heel. He really is the new Daniel Bryan. He's a different person. And there are you can almost count on one hand the amount of people who can pull that off. And I am just loving this Daniel Bryan right
The
now.
heels in the face.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking
and
about?
just being not even that, because you can switch from heel to face but being a different person when you're a heel.
I think we talked about this a little bit. Who can pull it off?
Yeah, there's very few.
There's very few, and I really think Daniel Bryan's one of the few.
I think he's been. I mean, if they continue the way they're doing, this could be the defining moment for Bryan's career. Let's get into this match. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The defining moment for Daniel Bryan's career, you think?
If this could be the best run, if he continues the way he is,
Bro,
I think
better
this could
than
be
WrestleMania 30.
That was. I think that was just a moment, though.
incredible. No,
It was a total movement, but then
the
he got
authority
hurt,
was
and it was
beaten.
kind of
Yeah.
Okay,
If he can stay healthy and he can have a good run, I just love what he's doing right now.
that was the best.
Not that
knock
I
on wood.
trust. Yeah. Not
Ooh,
that.
hey,
Whoa.
hey, hey,
Not that I
Dad.
trust WWE to run with this and keep doing a great job, but if they do,
I'm just saying that
this could be historic.
30 was one of the best payoffs I've ever seen in my life.
That's true.
Yeah.
So there's a seated head scissors by AJ to open the match. There's a drop kick by Bryan. It sends him outside. AJ gets sent into the barricade hard here. There's a Bryan running knee, and then there's a Bryan surfboard here for a long time. Then a big chop to AJ, and then he gets some of his own. Really starts laying into some stiff chops to Bryan here. They trade roll up near falls. There's a corner drop kick to AJ, who then eats a clothesline on the second try. AJ hits Bryan with a huge clothesline there. Styles kicks in the corner here, and then AJ clothesline for a near fall. AJ beats up Bryan outside at ringside, and then rolls him back into the ring for a near fall there. AJ gets a moonsault for the DDT combo, like the reverse DDT, which gets countered really nicely into a knee strike, like some stiff knee strikes, and then into a snap neck breaker. Really nice sequence there. There's yes kicks, and then one right in the head for a near fall. And then there's an AJ Enziguri, and he recovers, and there's a forearm, which Bryan catches Bryan, and then Bryan tries for a kick. He eats a corkscrew, and then Bryan's leg gets wrapped around the post. There's a top rope Rana by Ryan. AJ turns it into a roll-up, and then he tries for a Styles Clash, and then he gets a single leg crab, and then Brian counters that into a yes lock, and there's dual roll-ups, and then there's an AJ Pele kick, and then there's an AJ drop kick, and then AJ gets his springboard 450 splash for a near fall. Really picking up here. This was a really good sequence. The last 10 minutes of this match was just fantastic. There's a calf crusher. Brian eventually gets the ropes after a nice tap tease there, and there's a forearm off the barricade from the timekeeper's area to Brian, and then he rolls him back into the ring, tries for another run. Brian avoids it, kind of pushes him into the ref, and then gets a roll-up for the win. I wasn't super enthusiastic about this being a roll-up finish, but it potentially prolongs this feud, so I'm okay with it. Other than that, this was a great match. And I have to say, where was this at? San Jose?
San Jose.
I have a bone to pick with the San Jose crowd.
That wasn't this match.
Yes, it was.
The boring chant?
Yeah.
No,
that was Dean and Seth.
That was
You're
Dean
right.
and
I'm
Seth.
sorry. I'm wrong. This was a fantastic match. I give it 4 stars.
I gave it 4 1/4. Daniel Bryan is on fire.
He really is.
Like, oh my God, the match against Brock Lesnar, the whole heel turn, like everything is clicking right now for Daniel Bryan, and I think you're right. This is going to be his best run. And AJ is so good. And I think we talked about that AJ is getting older, and you can tell that he's kind of toning it down a little bit.
But he just changed his style a little, and he's still putting on great matches.
Both of these dudes, for their health, have changed their style.
For sure.
I really think that I want, when the roster switch again, to see one of these two go feud with Seth Rollins.
I would love that.
Because, those 3 right now are probably the best workers on the main roster.
I agree.
And I love it. Wrestling has been kind of bad in WWE lately. Like, the shows have been pretty bad.
The weekly shows?
Yes.
Yeah.
But, Daniel Bryan is making it watchable.
Yeah, really. Luke, what do you think?
I actually gave it 3 3/4. I should have given it 4, but honestly, I need to go back and watch this match again. There was a lot of shit going on while we were watching this match.
There was kids running around without diapers on, and balloons getting played with.
And Ryan Donahue just being a punk.
He's such a prick. I'm never letting him back in my apartment ever again.
Wow, I was the only one that loved him, huh?
It's okay. He doesn't listen to the show.
Yeah.
I love Ryan.
I love Ryan, too.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing we're not mentioning here, so obviously AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, not taking as many crazy bumps now, especially Daniel, but you know what? Like, that just lends more to his character. So when he was the underdog face, he was just getting ragdolled and getting thrown around like crazy. Now, he's not going to put his body on the line for the fans. Nope. And so that, like, it's such a dual-layered thing to do.
It's kind of a new dynamic for him, too.
It's so impressive. And he's had I don't know. I guess the whole no thing wasn't really a heel. Wasn't really him being a heel, but it was like a comedy act.
Yeah.
But he had that comedy act. Now, granted, he did a ton of heel stuff in the indies. Now this is just straight heel, straight heat, and I love it, man.
Yeah, I agree.
That boy from Aberdeen, he's damn
killing
good.
it.
Okay, back to the comments for a minute. Greg, I don't know what you mean by the new brother love.
We'll clarify in the comments there, Greg. Up next, we get... there's Ronda gets interviewed backstage, and she says, "Revenge."
Ooh, Wyatt. I also love the surfboard stretch. Haven't seen that in forever.
It was so,
ever.
Brian had been teasing pulling it out the last kind of few months. It might have been the first time he actually got it though.
Yes.
So it was nice to see. So backstage, Ronda is interviewed, and she says she's talking about Becky and the whole Charlotte Becky triangle with Ronda and everything that's going on there. Mostly Charlotte. And she drops a quote that says, "Revenge is a bitch, and I'm the baddest one on the planet." Maybe a little foreshadowing for the main event. We shall see. And then we get a video package hyping up everything that's gone down between Dean and Seth. I thought this was a very, very solid video package.
Now, before this match starts, let your feelings for the San Jose crowd be known.
So during this match, they were doing a "This is boring" chant. San Jose, let a story play out, please.
Bullshit.
Let a story play out, because this was anything but boring.
This was another great match.
This wasn't a match you'd see in the Tokyo Dome, but this was storytelling at its finest. This was NXT level storytelling.
Yes.
The match itself wasn't quite there, but they left some on the table for a further match, I'm sure, for a rematch down the line. How dare they chant "This is boring" during this match?
It's funny because it kind of does, now that you say that, it kind of does feel like Ciampa Gargano a little bit.
They were letting a story play out in the ring,
yes,
and the crowd was not patient enough or smart enough or both to respect that. And that really upset me. And to be fair, it was not a majority of the crowd. It was a hard chant to hear because it was a very small amount of people, but it was enough. Go ahead, Kyle.
You motherfuckers.
So again, this is
can you shake violently again, please?
You look like you're about to explode. So I will say, I think the first 3 weeks of build for this feud has been a lot stronger than the last 3. I think that at first, when you had the initial turn and the whole Roman Reigns leukemia announcement and all that bundled together, those first few weeks when Dean wasn't really saying much and was kind of being kind of vague, I loved that. More recently, he's kind of turned his attention away from Seth, and he's kind of done the Bane thing where he wore the gas mask and he had the Druids with him, and it's kind of gone off course. And he said he got a shot in the trainer's room and said that the crowd makes him sick. I'm not so into that. It's a little silly, but thankfully this video package was edited, so they kind of left out a lot of that more recent stuff and just focused on Seth and Dean and their relationship. Yeah. And I thought the video package was really well done. And so we get to the match here. And
also, I think Dino needs to stay bald because he's got the word, like, his hairline. I thought I was self-conscious about mine, but God, just shave it, dude.
I kind of liked it.
Why?
I don't know.
Just how it gets matted on, like that one little patch that gets matted on his head.
So we do start this match off. By the way, Dean came out with like this nice siren playing before his like over his music. I kind of liked the idea of having just the siren play. I don't know. But one little detail I noticed that I liked a lot about Dean's entrance was that he was wearing this really small, subtle snake pin on his jacket. And if that's not just a total microcosm of his character lately, I don't know what is. I thought that was a really, really nice touch. Maybe a little on the nose, but hey, it's wrestling. What can you expect, you know? Just a nice little touch, I thought.
Kevin Durant's also a snake.
Yeah, true. So Seth gets some strikes in the corner to start, and then Ambrose fights back. Rollins gets tossed into the announce table, and then Dean hits a snap suplex back into the ring. We get a nice long rest hold spot here, and then there's an elbow to Seth, and then a Dean swinging neck breaker. Then Dean gets sent into the turnbuckle, and then he recovers from that and hits a Texas Cloverleaf onto Seth to kind of sell the knee.
Another one that we haven't seen in a while.
Yep, and it was a nice one too, and kind of just keep working on that knee that we know has had recurring problems for Seth in the past. There's a really, really good looking apron. So Seth drapes Dean over the middle rope on the apron and then hits a leg drop to the back of his neck.
Like a famouser almost.
And destroys Dean Ambrose. That was a devastating looking move.
Sick spot.
You look like you have no idea what I'm talking about, Kyle.
I'm just kind of zoning.
Okay. Did you like that spot?
I did.
All right, cool.
God, you're cute.
You are. And so Seth back in the ring. Seth lands on his feet after a back body drop, and then eats a clothesline for his troubles, though, and goes outside to catch his breath, and then hits a suicide dive to Dean, and then comes back into the ring. He tries for a sunset flip, but his knee gives out and he falls, and then Dean hits a buckle bomb for a near fall, and then Dean hits an inverted facebuster for a near fall, and then Seth gets crotched on the top rope. He tries for the superplex Falcon Arrow, gets crotched onto the top rope, and then taken out, and then Dean gets a near fall from that. Dean mocks Seth. He does the burn it down thing, allows Seth to recover, and he hits the ripcord knee for a near fall. And then Dean gets his knees up on a frog splash. Seth recovers, hits a Falcon Arrow, and then the superplex Falcon Arrow combo for a near fall. He tries for the super kick, but then Dean gets up and he tries for the fist bump. And this is a really nice moment where Seth was thinking about it, and then he got too mad he couldn't do it, and he takes out.
He started shaking like Kyle.
Kyle, brother. And then he took out took out Dean, hits him with a nice kick, knocks him down, and then Seth powerbombs Dean out on the ring apron, and then beats the count barely, or not the ring apron, on the guardrail, a la Finn Balor, the same spot that separated his shoulder. This one looked a little safer. Barely beats the count, gets back in right before the 10 count. Seth goes for a stomp, gets countered into a Dirty Deeds, and we have a new Intercontinental Champion, and his name is Dean Ambrose. I liked this match a lot. I thought it was a lot of storytelling, and I thought that it kind of left some things on the table for a prospective Seth Rollins rematch, which I'm guessing Dean will hold on to the title whenever that takes place. I did enjoy the match. I gave it 3.5 stars. I thought it was a good match.
I gave it 4 stars. Mm-hmm. I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy to me that this was my 3rd favorite match of the night. Because it was so good. This could have been the main event and I wouldn't have complained. I can't wait to see what comes next. I like that Dean won the title because I want after this feud Seth to go to to beat Brock Lesnar.
I don't think it's setting up for that potentially.
I think so too, especially after on Raw when he was like, "We have a champion that won't ever come here."
Yeah, he planted the seeds, and I think you can still get one good match out of Dean and Seth, and then turn your attention to the Universal title picture. Luke, what did you think?
Once again, I'm sorry, AJ and Daniel. I need to go back and watch the match. I gave this 4 stars when I only gave that one 3 3/4. The reason for me is the story they were telling. And I referenced Gargano Ciampa before. That moment where Dean, says hold up, and offers the fist bump out, and then Seth, freaks out, and that was a really good spot too when he just starts going off on him.
Yeah.
Holds his limp face there for a second. This is for everybody. This is for Roman, and just smacks the
mic. Smacked him stiff
out of him. I think this is a great rivalry. It's going to have a great payoff, and this was a nice chapter. I mean, I think I'm more invested in Dean than I have been in a very long time.
I agree. Up next, we get a video package hyping up the main event, which is, of course, going to be the first ever women's triple threat TLC match against Asuka, Charlotte, and the champion, Becky Lynch. I did not like this video package. I know I praised their video packages a lot, but this did not seem to match the gravity and the intensity of what a TLC match is. It was kind of like a pop song playing underneath. Too many bouncy visuals and bright colors for me.
Bouncy?
Yeah. But stop it.
Don't try to put him in that hole, you bastard.
It is what it is. The match itself I knew was going to be good, and it did not disappoint me. And, of course, this is a TLC match. You got to grab that title from the rafters off of a ladder.
Yes.
Start out right off the bat. Asuka gets some nice corner hip attacks onto both ladies, and then Lynch hits an exploder to Charlotte, and then a ladder gets grabbed, and Asuka grabs one as well. One gets set up in the corner, and then Asuka gets bounced off of it, and then Asuka hits a codebreaker out of nowhere to Becky, and then Becky gets thrown off the middle rope onto a ladder, and then Asuka and Charlotte are fighting for a while on top of the ladder going for the belt. Asuka gets powerbombed through a table, and then Becky hits a top rope drop kick to Asuka, and then Asuka hip attacks Becky, and then kind of just sits there in the middle rope, and then that allows Becky or Charlotte to hit her in the ass with a chair. So we got some ass trauma. Not really dick trauma on the show, but we got ass trauma. So
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a Charlotte moonsault to both ladies outside.
Beautiful.
It was beautiful, but they did not catch her.
Once again, I don't know if they ever catch Charlotte.
She had to compensate for it and kind of do a smooth landing herself.
They just link arms, and that's all you're getting, kid.
And then Charlotte sets up a table outside, and then Becky attacks both ladies with a chair, and then Becky sets up a ladder, and then she lays both ladies onto the announce table, and then she gets up on top of the ladder that's set up outside, and she murders Charlotte with a leg drop. So Asuka rolls away.
A butt drop.
She kind of missed. You typically on a leg drop, you get it over the throat area. She completely missed, and not only did her legs not go on any part of her body, her rear end, just all of that weight directly onto Charlotte's
I thought Charlotte was hurt.
I thought she broke a rib. Yeah. I was almost certain she'd broken a rib. The
Strong.
Iron Lady of WWE, because a lesser man or woman, and this would have been a broken rib for sure. That was a nasty looking spot.
Those flare jeans, baby.
She did take a few minutes to rest. We were both kind of thinking, all three of us, I think, were kind of thinking, well, maybe she's out of the match.
Well, the table wasn't gimmicked as it should have been.
Yeah, the table didn't break for a second either. That's a good point.
That's the thing. All of that energy went to her ribs.
Yeah, it was really bad. So Asuka and Becky are on the ladder at this point where Charlotte recovers. They are fighting over the belt, and then here comes Charlotte with a kendo stick and just starts beating everybody up. And then they go outside, and then Becky hits a back exploder to Charlotte onto a barricade into a table that's kind of leaned up. It didn't break, but good looking spot.
Didn't it? Didn't the bottom of it break?
It might have.
And she bonked the back, and she bonked the back of her head clean on the table.
Oh yeah, that was the one inside the ring.
Oh, was it?
That was inside the ring. Yeah,
might be.
That was the one. That was also a back exploder, though. This was one that happened outside on the barricade. And then Asuka kills Becky with the kendo stick. It's just hitting her so hard. And then she gets speared right into the timekeeper's area. And she is out for... Asuka is out for quite a long time there from that Charlotte spear. Charlotte and Becky are brawling in the ring. Becky gets laid on a table outside. And there's a stiff slap and then a rolling senton from the top rope to the outside to Becky through a table. Really nice looking spot there.
Sick.
And then... Yeah, I loved that. I thought that. I mean, at this point, Charlotte's laying everybody out. Everyone's getting theirs, So Charlotte climbs up the ladder, and then Asuka recovers and comes after her. They fight on top for a while. They're right up by the belt, and then Becky comes in. She sets up her own ladder, and then Asuka gets knocked off, and then Charlotte switches ladders, goes over to the other ladder, and starts fighting with Becky,
the Bexter,
the Bexter on that, and then the crowd starts going nuts. And we looked over, and it turns out. Here comes Ronda Rousey. And again, revenge. She tips over the ladder that Charlotte and Becky are fighting on, knocks them both out. They roll out of the ring. Asuka is able to climb up the ladder. She grabs the title, and the show closes with Asuka being crowned the new SmackDown Women's Champion.
This is what you wanted, Zach.
Whew, what a match. I thought this was the right move. I think that Becky is at a level, not to sound like Bruce Pritchard, but she doesn't need that belt. Becky is at a level where she is so over. And she can do whatever she wants now, and she can move on, and she can have a program with Asuka. She doesn't need that belt. Asuka desperately needed something to put her back into the main event scene, and I think she will be a great champion for SmackDown, and the crowd was super into it. This was a fantastic match. What a way to end this show. I give it 4.5 stars. Fantastic stuff.
Match of the night.
Match of the night easily.
So, I didn't want the Becky title reign to end yet, but I understand why Asuka got the belt.
For sure.
Because Becky's been red hot in both her looks and her run lately. But I give the match 4 3/4. It was almost a 5-star match for me. It was on that verge. I loved everything about this match, other than the finish, because I wanted Becky so bad to win. But God, what a good match! What a great ending to this show.
I agree.
4 1/4 for me.
All right.
It was match of the night for me.
Melts.
Yeah.
Shut your pie hole.
If it was in the Tokyo Dome, would it be 5 stars?
6 stars.
It'd be 6. 6.5. Asuka really deserved it, man. I haven't. It seems like she hasn't been hot since last WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know?
True. You're right.
So she definitely desperately needed something. I liked Ronda getting involved. That seemed like the right moment. Charlotte is an absolute trooper. Some awesome spots all the way around. I do want to say though. Oops, sorry. I do want to say, since unprotected headshots with the chair aren't a thing anymore, I'm glad. But the kendo stick is probably my most favorite weapon now.
It's got a great. It leaves good
great
welts.
sound.
Great sound. Yeah. It's the most high impact looking weapon, I think. And
yeah, and just when they're wailing on people, man.
I mean, Asuka had welts from the shot she was taking.
Well, then
from
Asuka
Charlotte.
was wrecking people too. So I mean, it had everything you needed. Once again, a women's main event steals the show.
Yep. I mean, this was the match of the
What
night.
a time!
This was always advertised as the main event, and it was very well deserved. What a great way to close the show.
You want to talk about? Obviously, we've just been absolutely going off about the women's movement. You want to talk about closing the year out with a microcosm of the progress made?
Yeah.
In this year.
was a perfect way to
a show
demonstrate
stealing
that.
main event by the women.
And how fitting is it that one of the ladies that really helped build that next to Charlotte is Sasha, and she was nowhere to be found on this card.
Yeah, and Bailey too. Really,
They got to figure that
Yeah.
out.
They will,
gotta
and
figure
I'm confident that they will. I mean,
so what, as a whole, what do you rate this show?
So overall, this was a kind of a tough show to rate for me because there was nothing terrible on this show, but the first 2 or 3 out of the first 5 matches did kind of get out of the stumbling blocks a little bit. Oh, so overall, I'm giving this show a B, and I almost wanted to give it a B+ just because those last few matches were so good. It was a good way to end the year 2018 pay-per-view wise for WWE. Nothing was super offensive or bad besides that tables match maybe and the chairs match. But overall,
I thought that mixed match. The mixed tag match was bad.
But overall,
Terrible.
I thought the good did outweigh the bad. The last really 4 matches were very noteworthy for me, and I give it a B.
I gave it a B+.
Yep.
Because I think the last 4 matches made the show pretty much must see.
Yes.
I think you have to, if you're a wrestling fan, you need to go watch those last 4 matches because it's worth it.
Yeah.
I gave it a B+. I looked at last week's show with Heatwave, and I gave it like a strong B, almost a B+. So I kind of felt like I had to go B+ here, just because. I mean, yes, it did take me until what? Match 7 to no, the McIntyre Balor one was good, but it really took me into match 7 to be like, oh, okay, hell yeah. There was a couple stinkers that just had no reason being on the card.
And again,
really
it just goes to show I don't know why the WWE is insistent on bloating these shows with so many matches of such little consequence. I mean, that tables match that could have been blown off on TV. Same with Orton and Ray. That didn't need to be a pay-per-view match. You could have made this a 7-show card plus the pre-show matches, and this would have been probably my show of the year. It was that close to being
This is one of the few
classic.
This is one of the few cards this year that haven't had a hot opener. That was kind of weird.
Yep.
Usually, it's, a super hot opener, a couple good matches, but then like the last 3 are excellent.
The opening match was my one gripe with the way they built this card. Otherwise, it just goes to show you how much a well-built card can influence the way you think of a show. Because we're all saying those last 4 matches, matches. In the past, they would have spread those matches out throughout the card.
Yes.
Yep.
But having that so top heavy, they knew what they were doing, and it was very well laid out. And check it out.
They wanted to close out this 2018 with a bang.
And we have one more show in 2018.
We're going to be
guys.
closing out
2018
2018 with a TNA Final Resolution 2006, and I'll run through the matches on there.
Sexy.
It's a pretty good card.
Needs more Joker. Sorry. Greg,
All right,
I love
so
it.
we're starting out with a 6-man tag match with Alex Shelley, Austin Aries, and Roderick Strong versus Chris Sabin, Matt Bentley, and Sanjay Dutt.
That's gonna be a damn good match.
Then we have the James Gang, formerly known as the New Age Outlaws, versus the Diamonds in the Rough.
That's gonna be a match.
We have AJ Styles versus Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Ooh,
We have
what?
Ahead of its time, bro.
Dang.
Ahead
We
of
have a
its time.
no disqualification match between Sean X-Pac Waltman and Raven.
Okay.
We have
I dig it.
Robert Bobby Roode versus Raw and the Truth Killings.
Ooh.
We have
Nice.
we have Abyss versus Rhino.
Okay.
We have America's Most Wanted versus Team 3D for the NWA Tag Team
Oh,
Champions. We have
Classic.
Samoa Joe versus Christopher Daniels for the X Division Championship.
Oh, this is gonna be a great show.
And the main event, we have Christian Cage teaming with the returning Sting against Jeff Jarrett and everyone's favorite Monty Brown.
That's gonna be a fun show, guys.
That's gonna be fun.
Um,
So thanks for tuning in, guys, tonight.
Oh, and another thing. Maybe if I'm feeling like Santa Claus, maybe you guys will get a Christmas Day episode next week. Maybe I'll release it a day early.
You really mean it?
Maybe. We'll see. Thank you so much, everyone who watched, and thank you, everyone who's going to listen to the podcast audio version. Sweet.
And buy a t-shirt.
We love you guys
Love
so
you.
much. Thank you. Have a good night.